Hey, everybody, welcome to Secure the Seat Live. My name is Minda Harts, your host, and I'm so excited that you're here with us today because let's be honest, you could be anywhere on the internet right now and you're here with us. And so I'm super excited. So shout out to the people who are watching us on LinkedIn and shout out to those who are watching on YouTube. Make sure that you put your questions in the chat as we have a conversation. I'm so excited to introduce you to Karen Alston, a friend, a mentor who supported my work on countless occasions. She is the founder of the Spectrum Circle and CEO, amongst other things. Karen, welcome to Secure the Seat.
Thank you, Minda. This is absolutely fabulous. This is my first LinkedIn Live, and it's so exciting to be here. I'm so happy to share this moment with you.
I am happy to have you here. And for those who may not know about your work, why don't you tell them a little bit more about you?
So I am a serial entrepreneur. I've been working and building businesses since 2002. About 6 years ago, one of my clients asked me to come in-house. So I'm now a chief marketing officer at a network of charter schools in DC called Eagle Academy. But what most people know me for is I am the founder and creator of the Spectrum Circle. And about 5 years ago, I wrote a 2-page white paper to create a platform for authentic storytelling for women, because I wanted women to have the experience I was having as other women were navigating and assisting me in my career. And so I wrote it down on 2 pages, and 5 years later, I can't believe how much it has grown. So the Spectrum Circle is an authentic storytelling platform for women to share their experiences so that other women can grow. Because I believe you can't be what you cannot see.
Perfect. And I know we're going to dig into it a little bit more, but let's start. Our conversation today is around community building and why it's so important. Why do you think, as women of color and Black women, it's important to have a network, have a squad of people that can support you and that you can support too?
First of all, it's critical to your career. And I've always said that you have to have people in your front row. So I'm very fortunate that I have women in my front row. And throughout my career, and let me be very frank, there have been women and men who have assisted me. But I've been very fortunate since the day I walked into corporate America in 1994 that women had been there to help, assist, push, groom me in order to grow into the woman I am today. And I learned quickly that you needed mentors to assist you. You needed mentors and sponsors and people who would just show you the way. And throughout my career, there have been women who have poured into me to share what I needed to know, what bosses were difficult, what situations were going to be difficult, what lessons I needed to learn, what areas for improvement I needed to have. Because when you are a woman of color, when you are a Black woman, especially in corporate America, it is very difficult to rise, stand out, find your voice, speak up for yourself, and compete. And I needed that. And so throughout my career, I was really fortunate that I would be pulled into networks of groups of women or have private conversations with women who would help me. And I realized that as wonderful as it was for me, I wasn't lifting as I climbed. I wasn't bringing others with me. And so I thought, could I create a space where women could share, or as comfortable as they felt they could share, so that other women could learn and we could expand the tribe beyond it impacting me or the few people I would be able to speak to.
I love that, especially because I think sometimes people feel like they can't lift as they climb. So I'm glad you touched on that. And I know you probably have even more thoughts around that.
I do. I have a lot of thoughts around that. And I challenge women to be disruptors. And I understand that we're fearful. I understand that it's scary, especially when you are the only. If you're the only woman or you're the only Black woman in a particular role or at a particular corporation or in a particular space, it's very scary. And so many of us have a fear mindset that if I bring in another woman of color, if I bring in another Black woman, she might outshine me. She might perform better than I do. And so we have that fear and it holds us back. But we need to have more people in the pipeline. And when I talk to my friends that have retired, most of them, the regret that they have is that they didn't put more people in the pipeline to replace them. And so it is so important to bring people who are smarter than you and more talented than you into the corporation and be a disruptor so that there'll be more women in the C-suite.
Absolutely. And we really have to dismantle that scarcity mindset. So I'm glad that you touched on that. Now, Karen, let's switch gears a little bit because I want people to know more about the Spectrum Circle. I know you talked a little bit about it at the top, but what is it? How has it been affecting women across the country?
When I started, I honestly thought I would just have one conversation, one event, and it has changed and grown, and I'm just blown away by it. So I am a firm believer of in-person conversations because I love what happens with in-person conversations. You can talk to people in the hallway, you can talk to people outside, you can be in the room, you can talk to your neighbor, you can engage with each other, and that human connection is so important. And so we have very large events like the Spectrum Circle Awards, which we have in DC every year. And we have smaller events, we have salon dinners, we have conversations, we have panel discussions, we have one-on-one conversations like you and I are having. And we bring women together to participate in those conversations. And so I'm blown away by how many events we've had. This is something that I just bootstrapped and decided to do. And I'm so excited this year. We got our first Fortune 10 corporate sponsor in AT&T, which is just amazing. I'm just thankful to AT&T and others that have been supporting me since day one. And I also have to give out a shout out to one of my friends and someone who opened a door for me who worked for Bob Johnson. And so Bob Johnson was my very first sponsor and has supported me since day one, since I started doing the Spectrum Circle.
I love that. Let's take a couple questions from, and listen, I know that Karen will ask her some questions later about how, if you're a company and you want to be a future sponsor, how you can connect. We'll make sure you get that information. But let's take a couple audience questions. Karen, someone said, how do you dismantle the mindset of the scarcity, like thinking that someone might outshine you because it's real? That's a great question.
And I have this conversation with a lot of people all the time. And so number one, I lead by example. Everything that I do, I also state publicly that I do it, right? So one of the things I challenge women on in my very first speech when I started the Spectrum Circle, I challenge women to not only be an advocate for women that were their friends and women that they liked, because it's just our natural human connection to want to help people that are like us, but to also help women that we may not like at all, right? Because just because you may or may not like them doesn't mean that person isn't talented and doesn't have the abilities to do certain things. And so as women, we have to get through this mindset that someone is going to be smarter than me, someone's going to be more talented, someone's going to be better liked. That's okay. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You still bring your value, you still bring your talents, you still bring your skills into the conversation. And so it is hard and we have fear as human beings, but it's just one step at a time. And to be able to look around and see super talented people that you have brought into the corporation or you have brought into the work setting, that's your legacy. Mm-hmm. Because when you walk away from that job, your impact isn't the client you scored or the revenue you brought in. Your greatest impact is the talent you brought into that corporation that can be impactful for years and years and years to come. And so that's why it's so important for us as women to bring in other talented women.
You made such a good point there, because I was, as you were talking about it, I was thinking about different experiences I've had, and I've had friends be like, well, why do you hang out with that person? Or why do you this or that? I don't like them. And I'm like, it's not about that. She's smart. She's talented. You may not go and have like a beer or a drink with somebody, but if they're smart and they're capable, it's like it can be yes and, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm so glad that it's not this likability factor all the time. There's more to it than that.
And if you study some of the greatest CEOs, I like to read about CEOs. I follow a lot of CEOs on social media. They'll all talk about great employees that they may or may not have anything in common with, but that employee was able to see something from a different lens, from a different perspective, from a different background that they couldn't. And so when we have this group think that everyone is supposed to think the way we do, look the way we do, act the way we do, have the same experiences, then you get the same outcome. So I'm always an advocate for just talented people, and I don't have to like them. I do have to like them. It doesn't matter. I believe in the abilities of people.
That's a tweetable moment, believing in the abilities of people. Yes. Another question that we have here, Karen, is how have you been able to build your network during quarantine?
So I'm a big social media person. If people follow me on social media, I'm advertising diva on every platform. I connect with people on social media, and I'm also very approachable. So the way I am talking with you is the way I am on social media. It's the way I am on any app, and everything is open. Nothing is closed. Nothing is in a place of you can't reach me. So I allow people to DM me, to connect with me, ask me questions. I speak at a lot of events. This year, not so much. This year, I needed some time to heal because honestly, I've been exhausted for the past 5 years. I've been doing a lot. And through that, I've met a lot of people. The other thing too, and this is a shift in the past 2.5, 3 years, I made a shift that I wasn't going to walk in as my resume. I was just going to walk in as Karen. And so when I walk into a room, I'm just Karen. And I don't walk in with, I've done this, did that, went here, studied here. I don't do any of that. I just walk in as myself. And I have faith that the people that I need to meet, or the people who are interested to get to know my story, will seek me out. And the people who are going to judge me based on my color or my size or my look or whatever biases they may have are going to judge me anyway. So I'm just going to be Karen, and hopefully the universe will send to me the people I need to meet. And so far, that's what's been happening.
It's worked out. I know that the chat is like, yes, show up. Authenticity is everything. And so I love that. Want to jump back into my questions for you, Karen. I know there's some women out there and men who are watching are thinking, you know what, I want to build community. I want to create a space. What are some lessons learned or advice that you would have for people who are thinking about creating a space or a community similar to what you've created?
Well, number one, it's a lot of work, but find your tribe. Find your tribe. So, and also accept that everyone won't see your vision at the beginning. It takes time, right? So once you have a little bit of success, more people will come on board. And you have a little bit more success, more people will come on board. And I tell people it's the journey, not the destination. So the growth happens in the build, and being flexible to what you can do. A lot of people think that I've made a ton of money with the Spectrum Circle. I have done so much with so little, but I have a huge network that I can go to say, hey, I need this, or I need this, or will you help me? And people really do want to help. The other thing we need community. I wish I didn't need to build the Spectrum Circle. I really, truly wish I didn't. But every time I'm on social media and I interact with some people, especially younger women, I'm speaking specifically to Gen Z, they need to see examples of women helping each other, and especially Black women, because the media portrays us as not helping each other. And so they need to see the examples. They need to see women giving advice, sharing, mentoring, sponsoring, assisting, and guiding other women on the journey and the path of what you can be.
Mic drop. I got nothing else to add from that, but I love that, Karen. If you have questions for Karen, more questions, please pop them in the chat. We're going to go into our bonus questions right now because I am a lover of grits and rap lyrics, and I can't let Karen leave without asking what her favorite rap lyric is and why.
So, first of all, I'm born and raised in Philadelphia, so hip hop is like a second language for me. And I have been a Jay-Z fan since 1996, Reasonable Doubt. I have every CD.
Album.
In my car right now are three, and I have an older car, are three Jay-Z CDs that are my favorite. So most fans, Jay-Z fans, the fan lyric is always, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. That's the fan lyric, that's my favorite. But for those Jay-Z fans out there that are B-side shows, people who, love the B-sides, on the Blueprint 2, there's a song called A Dream. And in that song, Jay-Z is talking to the Notorious B.I.G. and they're sharing with each other. And I want to read really quickly the two sentences in that lyrics where Jay-Z is talking to Big. And Big says to Jay-Z, Hove, remind yourself, nobody is built like you. You designed yourself. I love that lyric because it speaks to my values, that you create the life, you speak into existence the life you want, the vision you have for yourself. And so in that conversation, someone who's dead talking to someone who's alive, saying, you create the image of yourself, of what you want. And today, Jay-Z is a billionaire. So,
yes, that just feels. Go check out that B-side if you are a Jay fan, but you're not really in those crates. That was perfect, Karen. My other question for you is, there's a lot of leaders watching. We're all leaders in our own right. What is one piece of advice you would give someone to how to leave the workplace better than we found it?
So first of all, ask themselves, and like I said, and when it comes to corporate, we're so focused on next quarter, next year, and our results, what we have accomplished. When you walk away, the day you retire, the day you're going to walk away from that job to go someplace else, if you looked in the mirror and said to yourself, have I created 10 of me? Are there 10 people in the corporation right now that can do better than I have? And then are those people like-minded in that they will open doors for others? That's when you know you are a success. It's not just the accolades, the money you make, the clients you brought in, the sales you did. It's how many lives am I changing? Because it's not okay if just you're successful and you retire with millions of dollars. It's okay if you have impacted other people so they can retire with millions of dollars and they can help their communities and they can help their families and they can help their children. That's when you're impactful.
Yep. And to quote Jay, he said, success is how many people are successful next to you.
You know what? Let's have a conversation just about that. That is such a truth. I mean, that's where I'm at now. It's not about me. It's about how does the whole team rise?
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. Couple questions before we head out and end lunch today. Karen, this is so good. The chats are on both sides. I'm like looking like a bobblehead doll over here.
I can't see the chat, so it's great.
But one of the questions is, what are your predictions for 2021 for Black women and women of color in the workplace?
First of all, what a time to be alive. I'm so thankful for that. I was sharing, I had a moment earlier this weekend of I'm so thankful for this year. As difficult as this year has been, if I had to go through this to get to the other side, because I am excited, I'm hopeful and excited, and I can't wait. This moment, we better not waste it. That's how I look at it. I am looking at corporate America saying to the CEOs, now is your time to stand up. Now is your time to be an example. There's so much talent out here. And to women that are in corporate, now is your time to be disruptive, to let go of the fear and to allow yourself to be a disruptor and to create more opportunities for more Black women and women of color to advance. Yes,
this is definitely our time, and it's what we do with it. Hamilton says, don't throw away that shot, right? You got to do it. One last question, Karen, before we wrap this up, but somebody says, how did you get into a CMO position? Do you have any advice for someone who is junior in their career right now?
So I had my own firm. I had my own marketing and branding agency for 16 years. And technically I still have it. And so I was being a CMO running my agency. I was, designing campaigns and, coming up with strategy and hiring everyone that needed to be hired to work on rollout. And so I was forced into it, to be very honest. It wasn't something that I even thought about. It wasn't even something that I thought I would be at this stage of my career. My undergrad degree is in finance. It's not even in marketing. And so I fell into it in corporate and then went into it when I walked away from America Online to start my own company. And so when my client asked me to come in-house, I said, okay, and I run everything for them. So it, for me, I was lucky in that I fell into it, but it's been incredibly fulfilling as a career, and I'm very excited about it. And I would also say to young people, join organizations like the American Marketing Association. I was on the board of American Marketing Association for 12 years, and that also helped my career. There were classes you could take, books you could read, webinars, events that you could go to that would also help you. And then do informational interviews with CMOs and people who are higher up in the marketing department of whatever firm that you work for, so that you can start to learn and ask questions about what stretch assignments you need in order to move up.
Awesome advice. Karen, where can people connect with you, hire you, work with you, all the things? Where's the best place to find you?
So I'm on pretty much every social media except for Snapchat and TikTok. So I'm on Twitter as Advertising Diva. I'm on LinkedIn. So it's really easy to find me on LinkedIn. People DM me on LinkedIn all the time. Very easy to find. So reach out to me. I'd love to connect with people. And I really enjoy helping, guiding, and giving advice. I believe it is my duty to help other people get to where they're trying to go.
Awesome. And where can they connect for the Spectrum Circle? What's the website?
If you visit thespectrumcircle.com, so THE spectrumcircle.com. Also, the Spectrum Circle is on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook as well.
Awesome. So, Karen, this has been really great. You dropped so many gems to help us I'm already full. I haven't even eaten my meal for the week. I'm already full. But tell us, anything that you just want to leave everybody with before we head out for today?
So I would encourage everyone in 2020, this is a moment to improve yourself. So if you haven't worked on whatever skill it is, and it doesn't necessarily have to be professional, it could be a personal thing you need to work on, this is your time. This is your moment. Don't let 2020 end without doing something to make yourself a better human being. So whatever it is you need to conquer this year, do it.
That's that. You have time. You have time. You could start today. Karen, thank you so much for dropping jewels today on Secure the Seat Live. Thank you to all of you again for your comments, watching. The chat was just blowing up. Karen, thank you again for everything and how you support me. I want to say thank you. And so we'll see you. Have a great holiday week. Be safe. Wear your mask. Stay home if you can. All the things. And we'll see you next Monday at noon.
Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.